By the way, wasn't this about the time when Beyonce was having trouble with her solo career and Aaliyah passed away? Damn on your horn now that Jaguar Wright, a former backup vocalist for Jay-Z, is revealing additional information on the rapper's suspected role in the murder of R&B artist Aaliyah. It seems that Jaguar thinks Jay ordered the removal of Aaliyah to make place for Beyonce since she enjoyed appearing with Jay in images for Page 6. Fans still want Aaliyah's case to be reopened because new evidence recently emerged suggesting that Aaliyah's death was planned by high-profile industry figures. But who are these industry figures who wanted to get rid of Aaliyah? Is Jay-Z one of them? Aaliyah, didn't she fall in love with Dane and Aaliyah's gone? You know, it's been over 20 years since the princess of R&B Aaliyah passed away in a plane accident. However, fans still want Aaliyah. Let's break it down into a horse and the trail of tears for Aaliyah. The body of the deceased celebrity was carried through the streets of New York by a brougham carriage in a somber procession that many people compared to Princess Diana's burial. Those who remember Aaliyah from her heyday know that if she were alive today, most R&B girls wouldn't even stand a chance. Aaliyah was that girl back then. She could sing, dance, and act. She was smart, beautiful, and humble. She literally had it all. I've had a lot of success. You know, I've got dual careers now, and sometimes I struggle to balance them. Aaliyah left this world like a princess. The official narrative claims that the overloaded and inexperienced pilot caused the plane carrying Aaliyah and 8 other people to crash. However, Aaliyah's fans have never accepted this explanation because there are numerous details that don't add up. When Aaliyah made the announcement on BET on August 21, 2001, she said she would begin filming the music video for Rock the Boat the following day with the director Hype Williams. When can we expect that? I shoot the video tomorrow as a matter of fact, okay, and that video should be out and we're hoping like beginning of September, she said. Not just a woman. Aaliyah traveled to Miami on August 22 ND, where a green screen set had been prepared by Hype for the purpose of filming dance performances and underwater scenes. Music. Nevertheless, for some reason Hype decided to suddenly move the production to the Bahamas, and on August 23 Aaliyah and employees from Virgin Records flew to the island. However, Hype has never explained why he made Aaliyah fly to the Bahamas when they already had everything they needed for the video in Miami, including a high-end green screen set and lovely beaches. Aaliyah's sword Aaliyah was terrified of flying and it didn't make sense why Hype was forcing her to travel to the Bahamas, according to Dame Dash, who later stated that he advised her not to go. I warned her not to go, saying, he's going to make you do another day. Don't do it. I'm sure she'll come home that day. I had a big house, I rented this house. She's like, I'm going to bed. I just thought that it was him spending. Lenny Kravitz, who has family in the Bahamas, offered Aaliyah his private jet, but Hype Williams took it away from her, according to Dame. However, what really infuriated me about this situation when I learned about it was that I had heard that Lenny Kravitz had offered her a jet and then Hyper had taken the jet, so you could ask Hype about that and ask him how that conversation went. However, eyewitness Kingsley Russell, whose family owned the taxi cab company, revealed that someone from Aaliyah's team went into the taxi with her and gave her a pill shortly before Aaliyah lost consciousness, and according to Russell, she was carried on the plane. Initially, Aaliyah refused to board the plane and went back into a taxi cab, telling her team she had a headache. Aaliyah and her team were driven to the airport by Kingsley Russell, who was 13 at the time, for their return flight to Miami. According to Kingsley Russell, they took her out of the van without her knowing she was getting on a plane before takeoff. The plane crashed about 200 feet from the runway, killing everyone on board, but Aaliyah and 8 others, including a representative, had their lives and dreams cut short. Jay-Z and Beyonce both had a lot to gain from Aaliyah not being around, and there's actually been a lot of speculation among fans that Jay hired Hype Williams to convince Aaliyah to fly to the Bahamas Sea when Hype directed Beyonce and Jay-Z's video for Drunken Love. Years later, many fans pointed out that the opening scene of Beyonce carrying a trophy could symbolize her snatching Aaliyah's place since the biggest R&B star, and on top of all this there's also the fact that Jay-Z was close to R. Kelly, who groomed Aaliyah and married her when she was 15 by using a fake ID, but as very close as my best friend Yen Cool now, who found her in the whole wide world on my found Lee. As a matter of fact, Barry Hankerson, my manager, who's her uncle, told me to go up to Detroit and hear us sing. Once I got up to Detroit, I didn't have to hear a thing because she was glowing. I produced her to Kelly, and while R. Kelly was only recently convicted, his predatory behavior was an open secret for years, and everyone in the music industry knew about it, including Jay-Z. In fact, Jay-Z recorded a joint album, Best of Both Worlds, with R. Kelly years after Kelly's illegal marriage to Aaliyah was exposed, and Dame Dash later said this is when he realized he had to cut ties with Jay-Z. But then years later they tried to do the tour, yeah, but it still didn't work out. But if you notice, I wasn't a part of any of that, and the karma happens. But the thing I didn't understand is I was like, I know I'm not with that, and because of the moral challenge and him choosing one way, I knew morally we weren't the same words. So to me, Rockefeller was in the front. It was over. I couldn't. It was something that to me was just like, not to say unforgivable, but I couldn't understand it. You know what I'm saying? Again, I didn't understand how people didn't. I thought, well, the people aren't going to have that, but nobody said nothing. All this has led many fans and some industry insiders to speculate that Aaliyah's death was a sacrifice, and even Mary J. Blige once referred to Aaliyah's death as a spiritual murderer. I just know that that was a murder. You know what I'm saying? I was a spiritual murder. Other people know it or not, because but a lot of people I would have to really bring who, you know what I'm saying, for what I learned. And she just was cut down in the prime of her life, and it's so unfair. And it wasn't time, you know, it wasn't. I believe it wasn't her time to go, because from what I know it ain't supposed to go down like that. What's also a bizarre coincidence is that Jay-Z and Beyonce went public with their relationship the same year Aaliyah died, and that's also when Beyonce's solo career finally took off. And if you ask Jaguar Wright, there are too many coincidences at this point not to wonder if Jay-Z was somehow involved in Aaliyah's death. In her recent viral interview, Jaguar alleged that Jay climbed his way to the top by eliminating his competition, including Harlem rapper Big L, at an MC street fight in New York. Jay-Z was the first rapper I ever heard or even witnessed spit a rhyme. However, he didn't appear as Jay-Z or as the hottest rapper on the street. Instead, he appeared as Giant L. Rest in peace, Giant Gal. Big L, one of the most prominent figures in the music industry, was the one who put Jay-Z on without hesitation. After Big L passed away, Jay-Z, according to Jaguar, began forming connections with important figures in the business. One of these people was Sean Diddy Combs, who at the time was already close to Aaliyah. Jay then developed a working friendship with Honeycombs and Akad did look, I mean Diddy, and why do you give him the honeycombs? Why do you give them honey? Jaguar claims not at all. Aaliyah, the primary R&B lady, had begun dating Dame Dash when Jay-Z was also interested in her, which is likely why he threw Dame under the bus and switched his attention to Beyonce instead of Aaliyah. I believe that everyone who is familiar with Sean Carter is aware of the fact that he will end any relationship for $1, as evidenced by what he did to Dane. He said, I don't give up if you wanted to get away from your partner or your homie, but to do it the way he did it is malicious, but maybe that was because I was the girl who didn't want you. Oh, but if it's true that Jay-Z eliminated his own competition, did Jaguar explained that Jay-Z's sole producer Rich Harrison from Emory became the threat to Beyonce as soon as Aaliyah passed away. Before long, Beyonce and Jay-Z were at their peak. By the way, wasn't this around the time Aaliyah passed away? Yeah, and Beyonce's solo career was struggling. Breakfast from the Austin Powers with some of the worst. They were having a hard time taking her solo before Aaliyah passed away. The Jaguar seems to be claiming that Jay-Z sacrificed Aaliyah for Beyonce's fame, and judging by the reactions on social media, the majority of people think the Jaguar is expressing the truth. Aaliyah didn't fall in love with Dane. One fan said most people don't pay attention to words and think these guys just talk over beats, but I listen to what these people say. Another fan wrote it's clear she was sacrificed and who happened to come up and become the main girl after Aaliyah died. Jay-Z always said he'd get rid of you if you were blocking his paper. Beyonce, so that means that she was given up for Beyonce. Whether Beyonce knew about it or not is unknown, but everything will be revealed eventually. Let us know what you think about this. Was Aaliyah really given up for Beyonce, or was it all Jay-Z's doing? Comment below and don't miss the next story.